You know, while watching this video from the conservative twins, the Hodge twins, this Karmelo Anthony case has gotten very interesting, right? So hear me out. Dude's father tells the judge, hey, we need a reduction in bail because our financials, right? Gets all these donations. Danier raises $500,000. So they only have to spend, X amount of dollars, 250, or no, it was supposed to be 250,000 for the bail. So they only had to put 10% down, 25,000, right? They literally buy a mansion and then buy a nice new car. So why did they do that? That's not normal, right? Most people who are in a case like this, a murder case, right? Usually you're shitting bricks. But this family, this man, decided, you know what we're going to need? We're going to buy a mansion now in a gated community. And we're going to get ourselves a brand new car. The young man who stabbed the other young man at a track meet, quite literally, is on house arrest in a mansion. So, how is this supposed to show the world? How is this supposed to show other Americans? Because right now, what this is showing people is you can literally go murder a white person or a white kid. You can go ahead and get arrested and then turn around and get sob money. Because that's what it was. And you can go ahead and look at the comments because the Hodge twins do a video on it, and so do several other people, on all the people who commented on there. And a majority of them were just disgusting comments. Others were, in support for the young man. But still, it comes down to the fact that everything that you hear about the case, the fact that Karmelo Anthony was at the wrong tent, purposefully in the wrong tent, purposefully had a knife in his bag, and then decides to stab young man in the chest. Okay. But yet, somehow, some way, this judge decides to give him a break, right? Reduces the, the amount that they have to pay for bail, all that stuff. And then they blow the donation money to buy a mansion. My question is, do they think because they have a black judge, they're more likely to win this case, but then not only have a black judge, try to portray it off as some disproportionate young man who grew up in the ghetto, who was dealing with racism after bigotry, after anger, after everything, right? Which will excuse the young man in doing a horrific event, even though everybody around, all the eyewitnesses, can contest to the fact that literally there was no racism at all, and all they were doing was asking him to leave the tent because that was not his tent for his school. It almost sounds as if Karmelo Anthony went there to quite literally, deliberately do something. Like, deliberately do something, as if he wanted to hurt somebody. Kind of crazy, right? I do suggest watching this one because they're talking about a press conference, and the gentleman on the screen is talking about how Metcalf's, Mr. Metcalf, was at their conference and how disrespectful it was for Mr. Metcalf's son for him to be there. It's like, sir, you bought a mansion and a brand new car after your kid murdered his kid. Seriously? You gotta be kidding me, right? That's kind of ridiculous because no average, normal, sane human being, after they get donation money for their child's defense in a murder case, is going to go out and buy a mansion. You're going to save that money and use it for the defense of your child so that they don't go to prison. And then, if there's anything left, you would put it in a college fund or maybe buy a reasonable home out of maybe the area you're in instead of buying a mansion while going said through trial. Doesn't make sense at all. Just saying. But, hey, teach their own. Maybe in his, thought process, maybe this helps with his anxiety or depression or whatever. They might use that as in their defense when someone asks someone why they bought a house in a gated community that's dang near almost $1 million and then also bought a brand new car. That's probably almost the price of like either a down payment for a house or a house. I didn't look at how much the car cost, but $800 and some odd $1,000 for the house they bought. Kind of crazy. Holy crap. But yeah, this case is definitely going to be very interesting, and we will definitely see a very interesting outcome, because there's two outcomes that are going to happen. Either A, he gets tried for murder and goes to prison, which then, hey, justice is served, unless there's evidence that can prove without a benefit of the doubt that Karmelo Anthony is, in doing so, self-defense. But that's also if the evidence proves so. If the evidence does not prove so and shows that it was not out of self-defense and he just did it to do it and still gets off, that is going to definitely show all of America that the justice system is bullshit. Which is where we will either see the government or the justice system make sure that the right thing gets done or not. It will be a very interesting outcome. That's for sure. All I do know is more likely you're not going to see riots if he doesn't get sent to prison. But there might be boycotts of certain things and or removal of judges and, senators and certain other people, and then the demanding of equal and fair justice system, meaning they're probably going to demand that the justice system get reworked and redone and a whole lot of other kind of stuff. So we'll see how the outcome of this goes, but it's not going to be pretty. Either way it goes, it's not going to be pretty. Young man loses, you can guarantee one side's going to call racism and probably start burning shit down, which is probably another reason why a lot of people are going to actually try to go for the young man is innocent, it was self-defense. It's probably going to happen. And or he's going to prison, and then you're going to see a whole bunch of people burn some shit down because a criminal went to prison. But that's also, once again, if the evidence proves that he did do it out of malicious intent or just to do it. You know what I mean? Or if evidence proves that he is innocent. Either way, if the evidence proves either one, they have to go with it. If they don't go with it and they decide to go, nope, well, justice system is flawed, and then we can never trust it again. So, well, we'll see. Like, share, subscribe. Stay free, America. Love you guys.